Hello everyone, welcome to Progress Junior Golf with Live Sport Now and the England Golf Young Ambassadors. My name is Steve Jackson and this is Ian Woodhouse.
Hello everybody. Hello Steve, good to see you again.
Absolutely, yeah, great to be back. Right, so this podcast is all about junior golf. It's about the next generation of golfers. It's about getting more boys and girls playing the game of golf. Now for show number 36, we're going to be innovative. Yes, quite literally, because we are going to be looking at innovation within golf and in particular, innovation in junior golf or family golf, if you like. So initiatives that help bring more juniors and families into the game, because it's not quite as straightforward as it perhaps it used to be in years gone by as far as promoting the game, because nowadays you have to think a little bit outside the box, don't you, Ian, as far as trying to attract the younger people to play the game of golf. So to help us delve a little bit deeper, then we're going to be talking to International Sales Manager of Golf Genius, James Sibbles. And Golf Genius are a big tech company specialising in golf competitions. And obviously, as far as innovation is concerned, technical companies play a massive role within this. We're also going to be discussing innovation with Maverick Sports and Entertainment Director Nick Addecott. Now, his company are heavily involved with stadium golf, which involves taking the sport into a non-golfing arena. So slightly different angle there. And the final special guest, well, we need someone who has taken golf broadcasting to a new level in terms of innovation. So any ideas who might be appropriate then for that, Ian?
Oh, I don't know. Let me just have a look through. Sky, no. BBC, no. BT Sport, no. Live Sport Now.
Absolutely, yes. Ian is going to be part of the Progress Junior Golf podcast as we talk about innovation. It is a pre-recorded part of the podcast. We had an excellent and fascinating chat about the subject with the three people we mentioned there. That conversation took place a week ago, so I won't go into too many details about what we.
Can I just jump in though, Steve, and just say anybody watching this is a fascinating chat. So make sure you do watch it. I know. We're not paid to say that. We're doing this podcast off our own, but it really, really is. I really enjoyed it with the chaps last week, and there's a lot of value to be had from this podcast, I think, as there always is, of course, every week.
Of course, yes. So we won't go into too many details about what was said, because obviously we'll let you watch it. Like you say, I think it's a cracking show. We'll give you a little bit of a heads up though, things to watch out for though, because there's a few things which cropped up. So firstly, one of us hasn't had a shave in the last week. So watch out for that. Secondly, one of us manages to throw in an anecdotal story about his mum and golf. And he loves to mention this story on pretty much every podcast that we do. So watch out for that one. And thirdly, one of us shows his unrivaled predicting skills as he confirms, and bearing in mind this was before the last round of fixtures in the Premier League, who was going to be relegated from the Premier League. And unfortunately, we were right, weren't we?
All right, so I'm all right. As a Leeds fan, we were basically relegated in February. So
yes, and as a Leicester fan, not great either. So anyway,
let's get relegated. There
absolutely, yes. Right, first thing. Let's quickly move on. Quickly move on, please. I've been crying the last few days, so stop. Right, first things first. Then let's cover the latest junior golf news. Then, so right, let's start with a slightly older, but 22-year-old, really good player, Scottish golfer Lorna McClymont. She retained the Flogas Irish Women's Amateur Golf Championship by 4 shots from Ireland's Beth Coulter. That took place at Woodbrook. 16 under par was the score there over 3 rounds. She's been in great form this year. It's been mentioned on the podcast on a few occasions, actually. Already won the Welsh Open, the RNA Student Championship, the Buck Order of Merit, and she shot a course record 68 on Friday in the first round. That record actually only lasted for 24 hours though, Ian, because 67 the following day, she broke it again.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. and then finished up with the 71. So that is 5 wins from six competitions this year. So that's some going. That is. What a great start to the season for her. Right. Brabazon Trophy. We covered it a little bit in the last podcast because we covered the qualifying competitions. That has taken place this week, and we've had a winner. Ireland's Liam Nolan. I think we might have a photo of Liam with the trophy. There he is. And we're talking about a really good performance as well. Not necessarily by him. I mean, don't get me wrong. He played really well. He won on the 3rd extra hole. He beat Zach Little. But Zach Little, and obviously we've covered the Sunningdale foursomes last year. Zach Little was 7 shots back going into the final round and shot a 63, which is some going around that golf course. So
Zach Little's some player, though. Remember
absolutely. That. Yes. Well, he's a player who got mentioned in the podcast on a few occasions, in particular last year, and we'll come straight on to that now, because last year, you may remember, he won the King George V Open, the Hertfordshire Stag, and the Hertfordshire Bowl, all within the same weekend. Well, that took place before the Brabazon Trophy. How do you think he got on this year then? So three trophies to defend there. How do you think he got on?
I think he won the lot.
No, he won 2 of them. So not too bad, though. So he retained 2 of them. Leicestershire's Richard Whale won the King George by 1 from Mark Stockdale, but Little shot 67 in the final round at Moore Park. So he won the Stag and the Bowl. So basically, it's a combination of the 2 competitions, and he won that by 7 shots. So and then obviously took it on into the Brabazon Trophy and almost won that as well. So a player in form there. Another player in form. How about this for a story? Once again, it's a slightly older player, 22-year-old, but right. Cornwall Men's Amateur Championship then, right? So you have stroke play qualified and then you have knockouts.
Yeah.
He played 144 holes in 4 days. So 36 holes of stroke play and qualified as the number 1 seed. Then all of his opening 4 knockout matches went to the 18th hole at least. 2 of them actually went into a playoff. Ooh. And then the final, guess what? The final was over 36 holes. He actually won that one a bit more easily. He won 4 and 3. So
that is that's a lot of golf.
You have to be. I mean, that's the reason why youngsters are doing so well, because you have to be fit to play this game, because you're going to have stamina as well as that's not just physical stamina. That's mental stamina as well to go through all those close matches.
Very much and win the competition, isn't it? In the English Amateur Champs and the English Under-18s, there's a lot of golf to be played. Congratulations, yeah.
Absolutely. So well done to him. And he beat a teenager in the final as well, Jack Cavern. So well done to Jack for making it through to the final. A couple of other stories then. Greg Homans from Royal Bonar, he won the Formby Hare victory. That's the second time he's won it in 4 years. And Jack Bryan won the inaugural Jacqueline Trophy at Chorley Golf Club. Right. Another good story. Talking about some good scores. The Scottish Women's Amateur Championship took place at Ladybank. Carmen Griffiths, who's 19 years old. Semi-final, she won 7 and 6. Final, she won 6 and 5. And when that is someone in seriously good form to win, and as you can imagine, when you get through the semi-final and final, you're playing the best of the best. So, well, that's some scoring there. Another player has been mentioned on the podcast this year, really, really informed player, Harry Mallin. He won the Welsh Open Youth Championship. 17-year-old. He finished 8th in the Fairhaven Trophy. He was runner-up in the Bernard Dalvin Youth Salvin, also runner-up in the Peter McAvoy. But this time managed to get the job done. Well done to him. Shot 67 to win by 1 from Jack Wally. Right, team competition then. England under-16s against the Spanish under-16. This is the mixed junior team event. It's the 8th time this event's been taking place. And actually, England not got a great record in it. Only won 1 from the previous 7. Lost heavily last year. Lost 19-5 away last year. This year took place at Hunstanton. This time, though, England won. They won 16-8. Well done to England, absolutely. Last time they won was in 2017. The England team, that was fascinating. So if I read out the names of the players here, very recognisable players. Chloe Tabard, Charlotte Norton, Matilda Santilli, Sadie Adams, Chris Kim, Ben Bolton, Jack Swift, and the one which might surprise you here, Cameron Mukherjee.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
Playing for England.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
So he's transferred from Scotland and now playing for England. So that's fascinating.
Can I just say, I think every single one of those players at some point has been caught live by us.
No doubt, yes, absolutely. Well, top quality players and well done to them. Right, Gloucestershire Men's County Championship then. 18-year-old, another player's been mentioned, Miller Reid, he won. Last month he won the Welsh Men's Open Stroke Play Championship, so another player in form. A couple of women's. Actually, here's one for you then. As I was going through the scores, Devon Women's Championship, Northumberland Women's Championship, but actually the Devon one was called the Women's, Northumberland was called the Ladies. There's a topic of conversation which could be for another podcast, whether you call them women's or whether you call them ladies.
The ladies, women watching, what do you prefer? Do you prefer
Absolutely.
ladies?
I think my guess would be that Devon one and might well have been changed from ladies to women's in recent years. I know in Northamptonshire, where I live, that is the case. It's no longer the ladies' championship; it's the women's championship. So perhaps that's just an evolving thing. Anyway, onto the story. Teenagers did really well in this competition. So Gudrun Nolan, actually, we'll do a little quiz question then. So Gudrun Nolan last year lost in the final to Chloe Howard. This year, same two players in the final then. Who won? Was it the same as it was last year? Or did Chloe retain it? Sorry, so again. So did Gudrun win, the teenager, or did Chloe retain it?
Gudrun won. 100%.
Spot on. Well done. Yeah. One actually did really well. Once again, 3 holes down after 5. Eventually went and won on the 18th hole. Right. Northumberland Ladies Championship then. We covered this in the podcast last year. I'm certain remember this. We mentioned her name a little earlier, actually, because she played for the England team. Charlotte Norton beat her older sister Zara in the semi-finals last year on the way to winning the Northumberland Ladies Carry Championship. This year, they met in the final. Who won this year? Charlotte, who's 15, and her teenager sister Zara, who won this one.
I know both girls. I know Zara actually better than I know Charlotte, because Zara was there at the first ever 2020 Pro Tour event we did actually years ago at Crossland Heath. She played that event. She was one of the first people interviewed. And I actually follow both girls on Twitter, and I just have a feeling.
So you should know.
I should know. For some reason, I think it's Charlotte.
Yes, she did. Won on the 18th hole. So last year, she was the youngest ever winner at 14. And I'm presuming, based on that, she's the youngest ever person to retain the title, bearing in mind that she's 15 now. So well done to her.
Yeah, but she's a year older than the person who won it last year.
Good point. Very clever. Right, Midland Boys County Championship team championship that took place at Kirby Buxlow actually today. So have we got our headlines hot off the press? The headline at the bottom there. Because
hang on.
Hot off the press. Just found this result out.
Hang on.
Last year, Leicestershire won it. Leicestershire won it, and they went on to win the England Championship then.
Yeah, apparently I've already got that. My text in. Here we go. Breaking news, everybody. Breaking news.
So Leicestershire won it last year and then went on to win the England Championship. How do you think they got on this year?
They won it again.
No, they runners up. Worcestershire won it. But Fraser Jones from Leicestershire, he won the individual by 4 shots thanks to a second round 66. Now, I know Fraser very well. I know his dad really well as well. They both played, or rather, Fraser played on the Shires Junior Golf Tour a few years ago. So you mentioned how lovely it is to see the juniors when they grow up and go on to become bigger and better things. And Fraser certainly won there. Another one as well, the BB&O, they have the Eastern Counties, Inter-Counties, that took place at Seacroft. Generally speaking, it was quite an experienced team, but they did include teenager Ben Lovard. And now I've known Ben for a while. He was played on the Fowler Series recently as well, and he was the first ever player to get a hole in one of the Shires Junior Golf Tour when he was just 12, and I was actually at the back of the green when he got that hole in one. So good memories.
Never caught a hole in one live ever. 4 years, never.
There's a challenge then for you. So when live sport now, go and stand next to Ian. If you don't want to get a hole in one, go and stand next to Ian. You'll be fine.
Who doesn't want to get a hole in one?
And let me tell you, I played golf 2 days ago. Yeah, I turned up late for the event. It was just a practice round kind of thing. So I joined my playing partner on the 3rd hole, walked up, put my bag down, got my club out, and then stuck my tee shot on a par 3 to a foot.
Oh,
and you should have seen his face. It's like so much for practice, There you go. But
it's the way, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's the way.
Now, right, I mentioned the Shires Junior Golf Tour, and we've got a photo as well to show, because we had an event last weekend at Rushden Golf Club. It was attended by Ladies European Tour Pro Talia Martin. There she is.
I know Talia. Smiliest player you'll ever meet in your life.
Absolutely. And I had...
Was it Monday by any chance?
Yes, she was. She was there. Absolutely, yes. Her mum caddies for her. Yeah, she was lovely. And she was fantastic. I've got to give a massive thank you to Tally, because we did a Beat the Pro challenge, and the kids absolutely loved it. The fact that the opportunity to try and play, but she was, I couldn't ask for a better person to be there, to try and promote junior golf. And also I want to point you to the left hand side of that photo as well. The two girls on the left hand side there, Sienna Midder and Harriet Schlein. Now, you'd think that they're best friends, wouldn't you? Now, I've got a strong suspicion that is the first time they've ever met and ever played a round of golf together. And they played 9 holes, and they absolutely love playing golf with each other. And they're always like best friends on the back of it. And that to me, that's what junior golf is all about. It's not necessarily competition. It's not necessarily about going out there and scoring a good score or whatever. It's about making friends for life. And you can imagine those two, the next time they meet up, whenever that might be, it could be next week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be a month, it could be a year, but they'll remember this day, and you can tell that, they love the day. And also, I want to say a massive thank you as well to the Ladies European Tour as well, because they have given the Shires Junior Golf Tour, every player who played in that event, they've given them a free ticket for themselves and a parent or an adult to go and watch the Ladies European Tour event, which takes place at Centurion next month. I think it's in July. So hats off to the Ladies European Tour for doing that, because they didn't have to, but they've got, bearing in mind there was 40 odd players playing in it. So hats off to them for supporting junior golf. And I think, we as a Progress Junior Golf podcast should say well done to them for that.
No, fair play to the Ladies European Tour. And of course, Centurion, as we know, is where Live Golf launched its first event last year. Very nice track.
Yes, and actually, staying with the link with Talia, we did an interview with Talia for the podcast at Centurion last year with Georgia Hall and Bronte Law as well. So hopefully, I did see Georgia and Bronte were both in the field again for this year. So if you do want to go along with that event, there's some top players playing in it, and like I say, they will support junior golf. So I'm sure if you do go along with your children, whether it's a boy or a girl, they'll make you welcome there and look after you. So
I'll tell you what, I would just recommend going anyway. Even on the Thursday and Friday when the kids are at school, go those days as well, because it's brilliant. Yeah. It's just really, really, really good day. And of course, Centurion is a great club too. So yes, hats off to the Ladies European Tour. That's nice to hear.
Absolutely right. That wraps up the junior golf news then. So we are going to be moving on to our podcast today. It is pre-recorded.
Just before we do that, Steve, can I just a little bit of self-promotion, if that's possible? Don't want to take the mic, but last week is at Final Golf Club for the Mizuno Next Gen Series. This Monday, we've got more live golf coming up for you as well from Sandwell Park. It's the ITS Tour powered by 2020 Pro Tour Live. You can watch all of the action as it unfolds. There's a fairly decent prize pot going to be there, around about £10,000 for the pros as well. So well worth tuning in and watching. Of course, it's run by a guest of the show and, of course, former European Tour player Chris Hansen. So he'll be joining me on the mic at certain points, no doubt, as well, if you want to get a bit of insight from him. That's this Monday coming up.
Fantastic. Right, so we are going to cover the podcast today. So we did this pre-recorded a week ago. So we're talking about innovation in junior golf, innovation in golf in general as well, but looking at the media, looking at how technology can play a role in it. So, let's let the podcast talk for itself then. So we'll take a step back, enjoy it, and we will see you in a couple of weeks for the next podcast.
Enjoy. This is brilliant.
Okay, so very warm welcome to the Progress Junior Golf podcast this evening. We're going to be talking about innovation in junior golf, innovation in golf, the industry full stop. I'm pleased to say we've got 3 guests on the show who are going to be joining us. Ian, as always, who obviously co-host, and also Live Sport Now, so very much a media point of view as far as innovation within the sport is concerned. But I'm delighted as well that we've got James Sibbles, who's the International Sales Manager for Golf Genius. We'll find out all about Golf Genius in a moment. He can explain all about exactly what they do. And I'm pleased to say as well, we've got Maverick Sports and Entertainment Director Nick Addecott as well. So first of all, good evening, guys. How are we this evening?
Very good.
Nice evening.
Good. Right now, so
you'll see from my tan, Steve, I was out playing golf today, so got a little bit of
that is a nice tan, Nick. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm jealous the fact that I've been stuck inside all day, so that doesn't help, kind of thing. So right, we are going to be talking about innovation in golf. So I just went on the internet and just thought, right, what does innovate mean? So innovate basically means make changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. Now, innovation is crucial to the continuing success of any organisation. So let's talk about golf then. If innovation is crucial to the success of golf, then what needs innovating? There's a big, nice, open question to start off with. A nice, easy one for you to start with then, James. What needs innovating within the golf industry?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on the show tonight. But yeah, it's a great question. And I think obviously, we have the conversation of tradition versus technology, don't we? For ourselves, we like to think that we are helping and aiding this digitalization of golf through our technology. So for anybody that's not familiar with Golf Genius, we are kind of specialists in tournament and competition management for clubs, for associations, for event companies, tours, and everything in between, really. So the company was founded back in 2009, an American company, by our founder and CEO, Mike Zisman. And it actually started as a golf trip platform, but very much got the kind of the momentum and the backing of the USGA in 2015 when we provided the tournament software for 10,000 clubs in the US. Today, we're in 62 countries and over 11,000 customers now. But innovation, we always say, the live scoring aspect of our technology is great because it really helps engage with all types of golfers, and especially those new to the game. But we also say that if you don't want to kind of have live scoring, we say great as well. We've got a fantastic platform that enables you to personalize and customize your print material. So we like to think that we are nursing that and embracing that change of technology in golf at a pace that's comfortable for everybody.
So that's innovation, obviously, from technology point of view in scoring and things like that. Now, next company I mentioned earlier, Maverick Sports and Entertainment. Now, golf is obviously a sport, but it's also an entertainment industry as well. So how important is innovation within trying to entertain as well?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think golf right now is in pretty rude health. I think it's in a good place. I think there's obviously a lot of discussion going on the tour around PGA Tour versus Live Golf, and I think when you talk about entertainment, Live Golf is certainly going down the entertainment route and doing very well. Brooks Koepka winning PGA the other week, just a testament to how that tour is working, and one that I don't think is going away. So that's part of maybe a conversation for another day. But I think the entertainment aspect is certainly important. You look at Tiger and Rory setting up their stadium golf Monday night tournaments that they're going to be running next year through 2024, which will be great, and that'll be pros competing against each other. And what we're doing at Maverick is we're working with a company out of the US called Stadium Golf Tour, and this is really trying to make golf a little bit more accessible and create a slightly different route into people for golf. We know a lot of juniors especially will start out trying to get into a club, trying to work at club level, lessons, lots of range time. Yeah, the reception hasn't always been the best for juniors at golf courses, and that's something else we could probably talk about another day. But I think giving juniors other avenues and other ways, we know that junior audience consumes things very differently than people of my generation. They are stuck to their phones. They like to have things in very short sound bites and like to have a lot of excitement and entertainment with what they're doing. So Stadium Golf Tour, fundamentally, we go to sporting stadiums, football stadiums, rugby stadiums, NFL stadiums in the US, stadiums that they may well go to with their father or their mother as a family group and go and watch their local team every other weekend. And what we're doing is we're taking golf into that environment, creating a 9-hole golf course around the stadium, building tee platforms on the seating, around the seating bowls on different levels. We then create 9 greens on the pitch, and people get the chance to come in. And it's not just about golf. We build a clubhouse. There's lots of activities, simulators, etc. to take part in. But we try and create a nice route around the stadium, taking them to interesting places between the tees. So when they walk from T1 to 2, they might go through the Royal Box. T2 to 3, they might go down into the changing rooms. So it's about letting them see a stadium that they may visit on a regular basis, engaging them that way, but then also building golf into it as well and creating something really exciting. for the whole family.
We will go into more details about the specifics of each person on here, but I just want to finally just on this point here with Ian. Obviously, you come from a media background, Ian. How important is the media as far as innovation within golf is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of critical. We started broadcasting golf 5 years ago now, and funny enough, most of the tours I work with use Golf Genius anyway, so I can vouch for how good it is, to be honest. And thank you, Golf Genius, because I take all of my scores through you too. So cheers, James, appreciate it. But it's critical. I mean, look, when I first got started, I actually started in motorsport, and it was all about people and all about behind the scenes. And I like watching Formula One, but I always thought the best bit was where the grid walk was done, and it was completely random. I really liked that, and I thought, well, can we bring an element of that into golf? Because I like watching a PGA Tour. As you know, I'm a big fan of live golf, certainly from an entertainment perspective, and I totally agree with Nick. I don't think it's going anywhere. But anyway, again, another subject on that one. But when I was watching golf, it was very much the same. It was, players go out, you watch the shots, and there's a little bit of analysis from two suits in the studio, and then you might hear from the player at the end of the round, and it was all right. But I was like, well, why can't we talk to the players whilst they're playing? Why can't we do that? And there was no written rule to say you couldn't, but people just didn't do it. So that was our innovation. Let's do that. Let's walk after a first tee shot's been played, and let's walk with the player down to their second shot, 300 yards away, because we've got a bit of time here. Otherwise it's dead time. Let's talk to them. We started to do it, and it worked really, really well. And it was good entertainment was the point, of that, because it was almost as if the golfer was untouchable for the 4 or 5 hours that they're playing their round. Now they've got a duty to be an athlete and think about it, but they've also got media duties. And as you know, Steve, I often say sponsors and partners, they're critical to the growth of any sport, because at the end of the day, if you want to play for big bucks, they're the ones paying the big bucks. So you have to sort of adapt a little bit and fit in. And innovation and adaptation are two words that kind of go hand in hand, don't they? Because you can't have one without the other. To innovate, you need to make sure you can adapt to the innovation.
Right, let's talk specifically then. So let's talk about technology then, because let's look back 10 years. The golf industry 10 years ago, as far as technology is concerned, we're talking about equipment here, we're talking about scoring systems. It's a lot different then than it is now. So just go through Golf Genius, James, about exactly how you've innovated and what you brought in and why you brought in the specific things that you've done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I think I kind of alluded to it earlier where the company started very much as a trip platform, kind of a group of girls and guys going away and wanting to have a platform that not only provided some form of live scoring, but a central platform that enabled you, for example, to go on a week or a 10-day trip with a few of you and have the algorithm built so you don't have to worry about who's playing with whom and so on. But the innovation in Golf Genius has enabled us to talk to more than just those going on a golf trip. Like I said, it's we're talking to golf clubs, we're talking to event companies, tour companies, associations. We're in half of the counties in the UK now that are using us to specialize in their amateur competitions at county level. We've also got the backing of England Golf, Golf Ireland, and Wales Golf. So they're using all of their amateur competitions through our platform. But we have a saying in it. It's very much a case of protect the culture, evolve the traditions. So whether it's a golf club, very much protect the culture of that club. But why not look to evolve the traditions that enhances that experience for everybody? Golf, it has to be fun and engaging, and we say, why not embrace that? And we see that across all of those different customer avenues, if you like.
And obviously, this podcast is about junior golf, but it's important to get it right throughout the golf industry. Because adults can influence the juniors. If it's exciting and interesting for older players, then it's bound to be more exciting for younger players, and vice versa. If it's not exciting for adults, then how on earth are you going to be able to use technology to attract the juniors?
Exactly, you're so right. And it's you look at in America, for example, off-course venues is now at a higher participation than on course, and this is because of the entertainment side. It's that route into golf, and I think it's really fascinating to kind of what type of golfer are you? Gone are the days where potentially you are just a person that goes and plays your golf at a members club. You might be a golfer, and your golf fix might be just going to the driving range and playing with technology, a total range solution. There's all these different types of getting into golf, and yes, obviously we can do more. But I think it's great that we are now embracing the technology that is allowing people to get into the game, and an easier format for that as well.
I'm fascinated as well the fact that obviously your company started in America, and very similar with yourself with yours, Nick, in the sense of the ideas came from America, and I'm guessing that's no coincidence, is it? That they're a little bit ahead of this country in that regard.
I think so. I mean, I think not just in golf. I think if you look at every sport, I work across multiple sports, and everyone here does tend to look to the US to see what's coming next. And James made some great points there. I think that ability to be able to offer different routes in for people, as I said, this younger generation now are very different from when I became a junior a long time ago at my members club. I don't
believe it, Nick. I don't believe it. It's only a few years ago.
I think yes, it was sort of mid-late 80s, and and I had a great experience. I was at a members club, representing my county, all those sort of great things that I did. But I didn't know there wasn't another option. If you wanted to become a golfer, you went to a golf club, you had lessons, you became a junior member. That was your route. Now there are so many more routes that you can, and they do like to consume things differently. It's very much a digital age. They like that technology. They want to go to a range where there's top tracer or whichever other technology is available. They want to be able to go and see where they're hitting it and have some bells and whistles and excitement and challenge their friends. They don't necessarily have that time to invest in a 4-hour round. For me, it was great. My mum used to drop me off at the golf club at 7 a.m. I'd come home at 10 o'clock at night. Best time. That was it. 2 rounds of golf and 4 hours on the range and that sort of stuff. But I think it's slightly different now, so we need to be looking at different ways to get them engaged and excited.
And also, I'm just thinking as well, when I was growing up, and I'm sure it was probably very similar with Ian when he was growing up, and probably all four of us actually, is the fact that we were told, you sit in front of the television, watching television all day, go out there and actually get some air, in your lungs and things like that. Well, now there's these things, there's phones. But you can use these as part of the experience of going out on the golf course, part of the experience of going on, your stadium tours, things like that. So the technology can be used as well as getting them out in the fresh air.
100%. And you were just talking about the US versus UK, and I was doing a lot of work a couple of years ago in NFL stadiums in the US, and the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium, the new mega stadium in Los Angeles that has 2 NFL teams playing there. Verizon, which is like a phone provider, like an O2 or a Vodafone, because they're trying to attract a younger audience, they literally set up like an AI airship battle through your phone. So the kids, because NFL, there's a lot of stop-starts. It takes about 4 hours to get through a game. Adults are going to want to have a hot dog and a few beers. The kids, there's a lot of downtime there. So they created this airship battle through AI, through people's phones, so that engaged the kids, got them using their phones, got them interacting with a game that obviously family wants them to get involved with and be a part of. And yeah, you're right. There's a massive opportunity with digital technology and innovation to bring on this new generation of kids and turn them into great golfers.
And from your point of view, Ian, I mean, the other day, this podcast, if you're watching this podcast, you're probably watching it on something like YouTube. You're probably watching it on your phone. So the media, they can use, that's the perfect way of getting to the kids, isn't it? Because that's where they watch their, my son, for example, is sat in the other room. I don't think he's watched his television for the last probably month. He's on his computer.
Yeah, I mean, the way you broadcast is changing, isn't it? Sort of traditional TV is still there, and it still has a good place and things like that. But we broadcast to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and LinkedIn, and we can go direct to websites. We can go everywhere, and we do. And it enables us to actually build this distribution network that I think we worked it out at one point was the largest in the world for golf. We were going out to Golf Monthly magazine and Golf Magic and their social media channels all at the same time. And it just it means that when we broadcast into India and Australia and South Korea and all these countries around the world just through these platforms. And if you needed to do, you wanted to get that reach before, it cost a fortune. Now it doesn't. It's, this podcast will go out. It could quite easily be, and it does, it gets watched in Australia, it gets watched in South Africa, in all of these places, and it's completely free to air. And it does change your methods, and it does change the ways that we think about broadcasting too, and how you go about monetizing it, because at the end of the day, you broadcast it. It's not free to broadcast, so people need to get paid. So do you go behind a paywall? Do you set up a subscription? Do you create a subscription like a Netflix type service, or do you make it free to air and then get backers via sponsorship, or is the tour or whoever just happy to fund it themselves? And it it creates opportunities, and I think that's really good. And I think I often liken golf to cricket, and I think I've said this before, sort of similar sort of paths, but both golf and cricket have a rich history, traditional history, and perhaps a little bit of a snobbish history as well. Both take bloody ages to play, and both rely on the weather. But what cricket did is they brought in T20, didn't they? They changed the format, and it worked. And that was a long time ago now. But cricket again, then the IPL came along, and it's working, and it's going well, and now they're bringing in franchises. It's essentially what Liv are trying to do, isn't it? And it's kind of working, shorter format. And then to take it a step further, Nick, with your stadium tour, which, by the way, for me, that is amazing. Absolutely, that is exactly what golf, and I've been saying this for long, not just blowing smoke because you sat here, but that is what I've been talking about for a long time. Golf needs a shorter, in-your-face, impact type of entertainment, because at the end of the day, nothing is going to take away from the Masters. It's like Test cricket. It's like the Ashes. Yeah. The Ashes is still the pinnacle, right? And it takes 5 days to play one game. The Masters will always be the pinnacle. But if this stadium golf gets people inspired to take up the game because it's a shorter format that they can access, then it wins, doesn't it? Then golf wins. And that's what we're trying to achieve from this.
Let's talk specifically about that then. We'll come to James in a little bit more detail. But Nick, then, so stadium golf, then just explain what it is, where you're going. I know it started in America and you bring it over here. So just explain a little bit more about that then.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, there are a few companies in the US that are doing it, but yeah, we've been working with Stadium Golf Tour now since last year, fundamentally on some of their US events. Our first one in the US was in Tiger Stadium, which is Louisiana State down in New Orleans, 105,000. That's a 105,000 seater stadium, which is one of their college stadiums. I mean, the US is just unbelievable. We built some of the tee boxes we built up there were. I have a slight issue with height, so I didn't. There was a couple that I didn't get myself, but there was some pretty dramatic shots there. And yeah, working with the guys set it up. Fundamentally, again, there's a slight difference between US and UK. US, it was very much targeted at the sports fan rather than the golfer over there, because NFL, American football, baseball, basketball, it's huge out there. Those sports are the biggest sports in the country, and golf, is a little bit further down the list for those guys. And they know that if they go to a college stadium, if a college like Louisiana State has something in their stadium, it'll get supported by the students, and it does. They'll go to anything that's going on in their stadium, and there's a lot of them. So their aspect was more around sort of targeting it to sports fans and stadium fans and colleges, etc. And when we talked to them about bringing it over here, yeah, we know that there's a fiercely loyal football following in this country. Everyone loves their team. They go to pretty much every home game, season ticket holders, etc. But what I wanted to do was focus more on the golfers, trying to get golfers excited about it, and that's a big part of it. So what we do, as I say, we create a clubhouse area. So you come once you book your tee time. We're trying to make it as similar to a golf experience as you can get. You go online, you book your tee time, you come check in at the clubhouse. There's food and drink. There's a bacon roll and a coffee or a juice, as you would do at every other golf club. And then we have a few simulators set up there. So we have a long drive challenge, nearest the pin challenge, chipping, and long putt challenges. So lots of activities for people to engage with, either pre or post round. Families can get involved as well. if there's someone in the family that doesn't play golf, great opportunity for them to come and pick up a club and have a go. So yeah, great clubhouse, great atmosphere. Once you've checked in, you get your wristband and you get a bag of balls, and then you're led out onto the first tee, which will be at some level of the stadium within the seats. We build like 4 bays on each of our tee locations, and then you go out to the first hole. There's a bag of clubs there with pretty much 9-iron down, because we don't want people going too crazy and yeah, me getting in trouble with the stadiums for damage. So you look at most shots, we tend to sort of be around 120, 140 yards, something like that. There are 9 greens numbered that are laid out on the pitch, all have flags in, etc. And there's a scoring system as well, where we two are talking to James at Golf Genius about working with them on our scoring solution. But there's a circle around the flag. If you hit it in there, it's an eagle. If you hit the green, it's a birdie. Miss the green, par, etc. So there's the ability to score and create that sort of competition amongst your friends or your family. So you go to the first hole, hit your couple of shots onto the first green, and then off you go around the course. And as I said, it's not just here are the 9 tees and off you go when you're finished. We want people to stay there as long as possible. There are some food outlets available on the way round, and then we try and create an interesting route through. So even for the sports fans, football fans that will go every other weekend, they will always enter through the same gate. They will always go to the same bar to get their food. They will sit in the same seat, and that's pretty much all they see of their beloved stadium. Now, what we're trying to do is open that up to them, and a lot of these places do tours, but this is a tour while you're playing golf as well. So you'll get to go into the room that you're never allowed into, the royal box, the changing room. You'll go down there and see all the shirts laid out. So it's a real experience, not just about golf, but about that team or that stadium. Twickenham is our first event in the UK, June 8th to the 11th. Go to Stadium Golf Tour for your tickets. But that's just a great stadium. It's an 80,000 seater stadium. It's steeped in history, and there's some great sort of spots that we're going to take people through as they go through their journey from holes 1 to 9.
Can I say this, Nick? Sorry, Steve. Can I say, and I mean this is the biggest compliment to this, actually, by the way. It's like PlayStation golf, isn't it? Because it's supposed to be fun, isn't it? And exciting. And that's kind of what you're trying to get, because it's fun playing the PlayStation. It's fun playing golf on the Wii or whatever, isn't it? And that's what we're trying to replicate, isn't it, with that? And I just, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's that sort of balance between, going to the range. If there's some technology there to see the shot that you've hit and everything, that's great. And to be able to track your shots, I think is brilliant. Ranges that don't have that, to be there for an hour hitting shots, it's challenging for certainly for the younger golfers. They're not going to want to do that for an hour. Me, I'll go and do it all day long. I'll hit shots as long as I can. But but you're right. It's about that fun element. It's come here, have a go. There's the first green. Here's a club. You may have never hit a shot before. We don't care. It's for everyone, and we want everyone to get involved. And there'll be some good golfers there. There'll be some beginners. There'll be some juniors. There'll be some seniors. So yeah, it's just about fun for everyone, really. And
it'll work as well. And one of the reasons it'll work, from my experience, when we broadcast we do a lot of work with Chris Hansen and the ITS tour, and they're all for. After the main event is finished, we've got our winner. They'll get 20 of the pros, and they'll do a nearest to pin shootout. We do a good one up at Northcliffe, and it's a lot of fun. We film it. We broadcast it live, and there's a bit of money on it, but it's just a laugh. And the players have finished a round, so they're all relaxed now. Tournament's all over, and we broadcast it, and it gets just as many views, if not more, than the final 2 hours of the main event, if not more, because people just want to watch these pros. Short, sharp shots on a par 3 that they can just see, because we film a drive at a par 5, brilliant, but gone, great,
It's you're absolutely right. It's one of the things, again, going back watching golf for years. It used to be the Suntory World Match Play at Wentworth, which was a great event, and they used to do a Suntory Skills Challenge as well, which was 100-yard shots, long drives, and those are the things that people get excited about and want to see. And watching PGA Tour golf or DP World Tour golf is great. I'm a massive fan, so I'll watch it all the time. But it can be challenging if it's a long course and you're seeing a lot of people hitting 3 woods off the fairway, and you want to see people driving greens, you want to see balls spinning around the cup and the excitement, and that's That's exactly it. That's the bits that.
So obviously, I think it's fairly obvious Ian's a fan here. I think I'm a fan as well. Yeah. From your point of view, then, James, with Golf Genius, presumably you're a fan as well. You think this is a good product. How can you enhance it then? You want to innovate. You want to make it even better product. Then, so how can Golf Genius make something which already sounds great even better for the golfer, for the young golfer out there?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I've got to say I think it's fantastic because, again, it's another route in potentially for somebody that's thinking about maybe getting into golf, and it's an opportunity for that. And it's clever because you're also kind of broadening the net. So not only are you talking to potential golfers, potentially bringing their sons and daughters into the game, but you're talking to a massive piece of the pie that's the non-golfer. It's kind of like Top Golf. Top Golf is 60% of people that frequent a Top Golf venue have not golfed before, and it's almost kind of sometimes the golf's a bit of a byproduct of going to a Top Golf. It's entertainment. It's going and having some dinner and some fun with mates or dates. It's a date night or whatever. But from Golf Genius and how we can potentially enhance that. I've talked to Nick. We've been openly talking, and I think not only can we look at potentially the live scoring, which you can do through your phones and through a tablet or through the app. That provides a live leaderboard. Everybody wants to see their names in lights, and by producing these live leaderboards, I think that's a fantastic addition to what you could do. But we also have the ability to create advertorial pages within the app. So after you've entered your score for the first hole, you could actually create a page in the app afterwards that immediately follows, and that could be enhancement of directional signage. So to Nick's point, when you're going on a tour around the stadium, maybe there's a nice article or some literature that actually says something about the history of the stadium. As you go down into the locker rooms, or through the royal box, there's something that you can enhance by putting that in the hands of the user. And I think those little touches is what it's all about. It's just potentially looking at those incremental changes that makes the experience. And it's, we're all in for it, aren't we? It's all about experiences at the moment. And I think this is fantastic because it's an experience with golf that potentially gets more into the game.
And of course, the key.
I love that, James. Does that mean, sorry, Steve, does that mean like you're walking around Twickenham, for example, and you've got your score on Golf Genius there, and like a little pop-up comes and goes, right now you're stood where King Charles was stood when England beat Australia, you know what I mean, 26-22 or something, exactly. Stuff like that. That is like, oh wow, that's really cool. And then people will start taking photos, won't they? I've stood right where King Charles
exactly. And you can take photographs in the app that then populates the gallery that's in the web page that you could create for this particular event or events. But there's so many different ways and it really plays on the creativity of how you can use the technology. So, for example, golf clubs, they might be using us for their Scratch Cup or their marquee member competition or a competition. And you could actually use that advertorial space to put pin locations, or it might be a nice message from the captain saying about captain's charity. But there's all these different ways that you can look to enhance the day and make it engaging. I always say with our software, whether it's a group of guys or girls, an 8, 2 4 balls, or whether it's a double shotgun, 144 players, you often lose that engagement and interaction with your other friends and players when you go out in your 4 or in your 3. But with our software, it enables you to stay current and engage with everybody, see how everybody's doing on the leaderboard. And sometimes, you might be having an absolute shocker and you just look at the leaderboard because you don't want to finish dead last. Or you want to kind of look at the top of the leaderboard and you might influence how you play the last few holes. There's lots of different ways that the technology can help in that, I think.
I'm just thinking as well, the key here is the fact that a lot of things you're doing here, you're almost doing it without people realising that they're gaining an experience. It's perfect promotion, it's perfect advertising, because they don't even realise they're being sucked in. They're being, shown what a fantastic game this is, stadium golf, without actually playing on a golf course. You know, they're not actually going out there onto, you know, in theory, and with the greatest respect to yourself, Nick, it gets even better when you go on a main golf course. You know, the stadium experience is wonderful, but you're trying to get them into this sport and play on some, you know, fantastic golf courses to be part of this industry on a long-term basis. And that's the key, isn't it? To try and drag them in by innovating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, just one other point as well. I mentioned there other golf courses. So what can they learn from this? What can they learn from the stadium experience? What can they learn from Golf Genius? How can they bring those type of experiences in to their golf club? How can they innovate? Because obviously can they do a similar experience to the stadium golf at a golf club? Can they do can they bring some of those things in which Ian's mentioned, media coverage? Can they bring those in their own environment? Start with Ian on this one.
I don't think clubs do enough, actually, Steve. And we've had this conversation before. Obviously, I've been doing the Faldo series for a few years, and one club in particular, and I'll name them because it's a nice thing to say, is Dunstanburgh. And they got it with Faldo series coming to town. You know, they had, and we're not talking about innovation. We're just talking about doing basic business things, like having an offer in the bar for parents, to buy one, get one free on Diet Coke or whatever. They had a barbecue on the go. They advertised it, went around to the local shops and just put posters in the windows saying Faldo series is coming to town. Everybody's welcome to the golf club. That's where it's got to, there's a danger of innovation of thinking we need to change, the wheel. And we don't need to change the wheel. We need to adapt what we've got and make it better through technology and through innovation and through new ideas. We don't necessarily always have to create something brand new. Like stadium golf, it's golf. So it's there and the stadium's already there. We're combining two elements to create this amazing entertainment that's going to work. And it's innovative, but it's not like we've created a new sport. But what we've done is taken the elements of what we know. We know par threes, let's face it, are the most exciting holes. They are, whether we like it or not, for a viewer to watch. Par three is the best hole because there's a chance of a hole in one. It's exciting. Stadiums are largely empty, but they're in close. You can get a lot of people in them. And you've got the game of golf, which we all love. So it makes sense. You're combining three elements to create innovation and entertainment, with the added bonus of technology.
So presumably, presumably you have spoken to golf clubs about your product and said, can we do this at your venue?
We haven't as yet, primarily because we kind of need that stadium to build our stuff around. But it's interesting. What Ian's saying. So I was and still am a PGA pro. Again, going back a long time ago, I used to do the obligatory junior lessons on a Sunday morning, and I'm never sure why we did them on a Sunday morning, because I was never at my best on a Sunday morning. But back then it used to be, mum or dad would drop the kids off for an hour at the golf club, and they would go off, and as you say, if there was an offer in the clubhouse, they would have taken that up, but there wasn't. And I sort of quickly realised that, getting the kids on the range for an hour some of them wanted to be there, some didn't even know what was going on and hated being there. So I wanted to try and make that fun. So we used to do a lot of challenges rather than just having lessons and spending. Obviously you've got to get the fundamentals right and get them to be able to, feel like they can hit a shot. But we had a par three. Again, as Ian said, par threes are the most exciting, right next to the practice ground. So we used to do early Sunday morning lessons before anyone had got around. We would do nearest the pin competitions with the kids on a Sunday morning as part of their lesson plan, because that's what they want to do. And that was the thing that brought them back next week. Nothing to do with my coaching or anything like that. Although I did have an amazing story. I used to work for a sponsorship agency, sports marketing agency, and we worked on a load of European senior tour events, golf events, and ladies events as well. We used to do the Ladies Scottish Open, and I was working on that event, and a young female came up to me there and said, "You're Nick, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." "You used to teach me on golf when I was 5 years old at Brockenhurst Manor Golf Club," and now she was on tour. So that was a lovely moment for me to have gone sort of full circle. Someone that I started off in the game of golf was now playing on the ladies tour. But again, it's about that engagement, and so we haven't really talked to golf courses about stadium golf, but I think there is, as Ian said, again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's about creating an inviting atmosphere to start with. I think is one of the key things. There are still some places out there where it's not the best place to go if you're a junior. There's they're in the way, they shouldn't be here, etc. But I think the clubs that embrace that and realise that these are the golfers of the future and do very small things can shift the needle quite drastically, and make it accessible, make it fun, create something for the parents to do while they're there for an hour or two while the kids are there. Just think about it a little bit, and you can really change that perception.
So obviously you have spoken to golf clubs when you've been trying to explain what Golf Genius is all about. What kind of reaction are you getting from them when you explain the kind of things that you can do for them?
Yeah, really good question. We get really good feedback. We get obviously fantastic feedback from golfers using the platform and the product in various ways. We also get really good feedback from the administrators or the people that are kind of operating it as well, because it potentially saves them time. It helps with their efficiencies as well. But it's interesting just with regards to what you were just talking about, because you look at Golf Foundation, for example, they use us for the Golf Sixes leagues, which started last year and will kind of go through till end of 2024. And that's across 8 countries, and will get approximately 10,000 junior golfers into the game playing a smaller size of the game. And it's coming back to this kind of point of almost a bite-size introduction into golf is a great way, because it's fun, it's not time-consuming, and it enables everybody to have a go at that. And you look at other junior tours using the kind of our product, Robert Rock Junior Tour, the Shires Junior Tour. The feedback's fantastic, because, as Nick was saying, it's talking their language. It's that whole digitalization which they're so familiar about, and it's enabling them to embrace on that. So yeah, the feedback's very positive, and hopefully
I'm sure it is, but you know where I'm coming from when I say that there'll be some clubs who will be skeptical about it. They'll be, for one of the, be honest, they'll be scared of technology. They'll say,
absolutely, yeah, no, and it's fine to kind of address that. You're going to have as many technophobes as tech savvies, at golf clubs, and I have it on a day-to-day basis when I'm talking to a members club, and it goes to committee, or it gets to committee level. Often, it's a case of it's that fear of change, actually, and it's their preconceived fear of change, because actually when you embrace what we say and actually look at it at a deeper level, it's really easy to use. And we're not saying everybody has to use a live scoring through their phone. We say if you want to use your phone, then great. If you want to use scorecards, great. We like to think that there's something there for everybody. But you're right. It's that change, and it's more often than not, it's moving at a pace that's comfortable for all.
Do you think that, I'm going to bring it in on this, do you think the media is playing enough of a role in trying to show golf clubs and the golf industry that technology isn't something which should be feared, it's something which should be embraced?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised actually if there's golf clubs out there who are almost fearful of adopting to mobile usage and live scoring it and things like that, because it's 2023 at the end of the day. Like, if you're not doing it, you're going to be left behind. Like who's in charge and thinking, oh no, we'll just continue using paper scorecards and doing this. Like, there's a place for that, but it's come on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you'd be amazed, Ian. There are.
Yeah,
it sounds like I would be. Yeah, it sounds like I would be.
For us at Golf Genius, there's it's the golf industry has lagged behind other industries such as the aviation or the hospitality, where there's been the demand for digitalization. Golfers haven't necessarily always gone to their club managers and said, we need to have live scoring. But from Golf Genius's point of view, there's 2 main reasons that's kind of acted as a catalyst to kind of put that conversation on the table. The first was the pandemic. It was a way of having contactless golf and a safe environment. The second was WHS, so the World Handicapping and love it or loathe it, that whole standardization has enabled us to kind of have a fair shot at kind of talking to these clubs. So those two kind of reasons have definitely now put the conversation on the table that clubs are looking at their offering for everybody. That's
I think they have to, don't they, James? I think you're going to see over the next 5 years those who do and those who don't. And those who don't are just going to fall further away.
And it's the same. It's the same as a driving range. You know, the driving ranges that don't embrace a range solution are going to get left behind, because if you go to a range that's got technology, and then you go to a range that hasn't, you feel like you're missing out on something. And it's all about this. It's that change. Yeah.
There's 5 or 6 driving ranges within a few mile radius of me, and 3 of them have got like the electronic, like fish game and stuff like that. Great fun, great time. So where am I going to go?
Now, Ian alluded to it. I think you mentioned it a little bit as well, Nick. Is the fact that what we can learn from other sports. What about other industries? Obviously, with your company as well, which doesn't just specialise in sport, it specialises in entertaining. What can they learn from other industries as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. And again, I think other industries over here. I mean, we work a lot in the sort of music side of things as well, which, festivals.
Well, just on that point, because I know Ian certainly believes the fact that they should be. You love the idea on a driving range of having music playing out, don't you, Ian? Do you think that's a fantastic something they should have more?
I'll tell you, another club who are very forward thinking, Farnham Golf Club. They hosted the English Under-18 Championships, a junior event essentially. We were broadcasting it, and they just got it right. They had a local coffee van parked on the driving range. They had music pumping out because these players are between the ages of 14 to 18. And the atmosphere was golden, absolutely. Yeah. And, again, when we talk about innovation, is that really innovative?
No.
Having a bit of music and a coffee cart?
No.
Is it really? But to golf, it's like, whoa, this is like 5 steps too far right now,
It is. I mean, you look at, and again, it's come from the US. It's, the Phoenix Waste Management Open, the par 3, that hole there, it's Liv are doing it now with music while they're playing, and the party hole as they call it. But it's great. I mean, I'm in London, so Duke's Meadow at Chiswick Bridge driving range, go down there. No technology, but they have a 9-hole course there as well, and they do things, and they do have events where there's music. There are food carts and things like that, and those things are great. And it's about the best way that I can get my daughter to come to the golf course, to the driving range at Chiswick, is they do the best toasties that are around. And I just say, right, we're going to go.
I'm there.
It is, and it can be something that small that she loves. A cheese and ham toasty, they do great fries. That's the hook to get her there. When we're there, we spend a couple of hours, and she loves it. But it's like, on a Sunday morning, trying to encourage a 12-year-old girl to come to the golf course, not the easiest thing. As soon as I mention toasty and chips, she's there. But so for some other people, it'll be music. For other, it will be screens, technology, that sort of stuff. So I think everyone's slightly different, has their different hook. But
there is another issue as well with golf clubs, and this is a true story. I was broadcasting English amateur champs a couple of years ago, and my mum lived local, and well, not to me, but where the golf course was. So I was up there filming it. I said, look, why don't you come over? We'll have a bit of lunch or something. And she said, oh, but it's a golf club. I'm not allowed, am I? And that struck. And I was like, well, of course you're allowed. What are you talking about? Yeah, there is still a perception that unless you're a member, you're not allowed to go. And these are things that perhaps we in the media can do a little bit more, but the clubs need to help themselves as well, though.
Yeah, they do. And you're right, you mentioned it earlier. The ones that put these plans in place will be successful in the future. The others won't. They'll die and disappear. And the stuff that you do in terms of broadcasting can and will help. What James does in terms of Golf Genius and digitizing and bringing that technological innovation will help. And I hope things that we do as well in the stadiums will help as well, because it's trying to break down barriers and trying to show people that you can do it in a different way, and the world is not going to end. It's going to be fine. You'll get more people coming in. You'll get more revenue. Yes, you'll have the obligatory older members will moan about juniors being around the club, etc. But They just have to get on with it and accept that that's coming. And these guys are the future, and we need to look after them. We need to make sure, if we want, I've worked in the golf industry, pretty much since I was 18, one way or another as a pro, then working for one of the golf manufacturers, and then working for tournaments, etc. And the game has to have these kids coming through, otherwise there won't be a game in the future. And as I said earlier, it's in rude health right now, but we've got to make sure that we're all looking out for this future generation that's coming through, and making sure that we give them every opportunity in a vastly fastly changing world to experience a game that we all on this call love and know is a great game for them to get involved with.
Right, so we're coming towards the end of this podcast now. So we've been talking about innovation in golf. We normally finish with asking our guests for a bit of advice. So we'll come to you first, James. Then, if there's a golf club watching this, what would your advice be to them as far as innovation is concerned, and in particular with Golf Genius? What can you do for them to make them, make the sport better for that golf club? What would your advice be to them?
Well, we specialise in tournament management, and arguably if somebody's joining a golf club, they're joining there because of the golf course and wanting to play competition. So in whatever extent, I think looking at how we can potentially elevate and create that value add for their members and their visitor golfers, I'd just encourage them to kind of have a look and get in touch. And like I say, it's not a case of we tarnish everything with, one brush. It's there's something there for everybody, and I'd just welcome them to kind of have a look and see what it's all about.
And if there's a golfer watching, and what would you say to them if they want, they've seen they've been to an event, they've covered an event, they've got the Golf Genius app, and they're thinking, why don't we have this at our own golf club? What would your advice be to them when they go back to their club?
Yeah, I mean, we're very lucky, like I say, whether it's a tour such as Clutch, Mizuno Pairs, whether it's the Rose Lady Series, or the junior tours that we talked about, or the counties, more often than not, there's more and more people that actually have our app downloaded, or they've used us to some degree. And we are finding that. We're finding that they go back to, whether it's a junior or whether it's a member that's played in a Mizuno Pair event away from their club, and they've had a good experience with our technology, they tend to then go and talk to other members that they play in their circles, or whether it's the club manager or secretary, and talk positive of that. That's how we get a lot of our interest to start with. We have a foot in the door, if you like, from that aspect. But I truly believe, I'm a golfer myself, so I truly believe that what we're doing is helping engage better at club, and whatever level that is, whether it's a new route into the game of golf.
And yourself, Nick, what would your advice then be to anyone who wants to try something different? They might not be completely new to the game, and stadium golf might be their first opportunity to do something whereby, wow, that wow factor. What would your advice be to them?
Yeah, well, the first thing is come to Stadium Golf Tour at Twickenham, June 8th to the 11th. Tickets are available, stadiumgolftour.com. Also, Milton Keynes, 6th to 9th of July. I think that's a great starting point for people that haven't done it, but not everyone's going to be able to come to Stadium Golf Tour. But I think from a golf club's point of view, I think they need to get serious about it. And for me, that would be having a true junior open day once a month in the calendar. That is fun, a fun event where juniors who aren't members are invited from the local community schools, etc., friends of junior members to come along, have a food cart there, have a bit of music, God forbid, in a members club, Leafy, Hampshire or Surrey or somewhere, but do it and see what sort of buzz the club gets, and start doing those things that will really help to show that they're embracing junior golf and getting behind it.
There's the website for anyone who is interested, stadiumgolftour.com. How about that? Have you got the Golf Genius one as well on there for us, Ian? We'll sort that out by the time this is.
What is it, James? What is it? I do use Golf Genius a lot. Funny enough, I'm with Clutch this week, so I will be using you a lot.
Golfgenius.com. So yeah, perfect.
Right, that wraps up the podcast. Look, really appreciate you coming on the show, James and Nick. I think we've been covering innovation, within the golf industry. Obviously, trying to look in specifically at junior golf. We're going to have some podcasts coming up, as always, covering lots of different topics over the weeks and months ahead. Just a big thank you to Ian as well, because we've survived this week. Both of our teams have been relegated from the Premier League.
Not yet.
Well, this has been...
Well, actually, by the time this goes out, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So looking forward to playing in the Championship next year, then Ian, and looking forward to everyone to see you on the Progress Junior Golf podcast again, hopefully in the weeks and months ahead. So thanks very much, Nick. Thanks, James. Thanks, Ian. And we shall see you very shortly. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.